Hello everyone, welcome to my stamp studio. Today is our day 2 of our craft along, so our fold, flip, and fab craft along. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's projects. We had some fun projects in store for today too, so we're going to flip down the camera in just a moment and we're going to get out our supplies for our next 2 set of projects. Let me just trying to get my feeds going here. And, you know what, I'm going to flip down the camera and you guys can just check this out for a moment while I get all that going. So if you get dizzy, please close your eyes. I'll let you know when to open them. Okay. You can go ahead and open them. Okay, I had some other stuff out here. I'm just trying to move it off to the side because I don't need any of that. There we go. Okay. All right. So let's see today. Oh, good. I can see myself on my iPad. Woohoo. Now let's just see if I'm going to be able to see comments. Stock that you'll be using. Notice I left it on 8.5, 11 because you're going to be cutting. That is not the right one. That was yesterday's. Okay. Let me just see if I can refresh this here. Okay. Now I see me live. There we go. I see my desktop. I'm so excited about this. Oh, comments. Someone say hi. Let me know you're there so I can see the comments come through. And then I'll actually be able to answer while I'm doing this. I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping this is going to work today. Oh, it's the small things in life that just make you happy, right? Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to get going. So what are we working on today? Oh, my goodness. I've got just stuff shoved everywhere here. I'm going to have to just get to page 5 and 6. So let me just grab my 2 sample projects out here. Okay. I've got them in a little bag, so I have them all together. So we're going to be doing this fun card here. I don't think I have a name for that one. Maybe I called it a bridge card. Yeah, I called it a bridge card. Okay. And then just this flip-up card. So these are the 2 cards that we're going to be making tonight. How fun. And they're pretty easy. They look like, this one looks kind of intimidating. Oh, don't be intimidated by it. It's actually very easy to do. So let's get out some of the supplies that we'll need. So from your handy-dandy craft along package, go ahead and grab out your 4 1/4 by 11 inch sheet. So we'll need that. We're going to be cutting it down a little bit, but we'll need that for this project here. We're going to need, I'm grabbing out the pieces that we cut down yesterday. Our cloud cover here. So I'm going to put these on like each side. All right. So our cloud cover here, which is 8.5 by 5 1/4. I mean, 5.5. All right. I've got my white sheet that I've done my stamping on. So I've done some of that ahead of time. And let's see, we need some designer series paper. So I will need my, make sure you're grabbing out your ribbon and your dots. Again, I've got my ribbon and dots in here. I thought I had, oh, my ribbon's right here. I left it on my desk. And it's stuck to all my glue dots. Uh-oh. I've got glue dots everywhere here. Let me just pull those off. Okay, so I've got my ribbon out. And pulling out the projects that we worked on last night. So you know what? While I'm just digging through my kit, I'm going to just put these 2 things here and here. Here was one of our projects from last night. And here was our other one. So we have a little fold like that. So those are 2 of them that we did last night. So I'm just going to put my projects together right here. I know I have 4 cards. I actually have 6 cards now, just because I was doing so many when I was practicing it and everything else. You're going to need your little kit here, I think. Oh, no, we don't need anything from in here tonight. So just put this one aside. And I'm trying to get out all the different pieces. Okay. Should have had this pulled out earlier. I just didn't think to do it. All right, what are we grabbing? Where did that piece go now? I know what things I want. I just am looking for them. I need this leftover sheet from yesterday. And I'll need a piece of cloud cover. I also will need this large sheet that we used yesterday. And I'm going to need some, what is it called? Crumb cake. So I'm just grabbing my other pieces here as I go. All right. I need a couple strips here. So that and that, okay. And what other colors? All right. I need this designer series paper. I'm just pulling out lots of chunks of the things I need so I have it handy on my desk. And now I need I need some of my Secret C. So I cut that one piece yesterday. So grab that sheet out. We'll need some of this. And we'll need more of our cloud cover. All right, I know it's a hot mess I'm pulling out, but I'll show you in just a moment all the different things that you'll need for each of the cards. All right. So for one card, we'll need cloud cover. We'll need our crumb cake, cloud cover and crumb cake. We'll need this strip here because we're going to be using this piece. We'll need this right here, but we're also going to be using a couple pieces from here. And then I have my piece left over from yesterday. So I do need that to kind of create my card base. And that's going to be for this project. I'm going to put this one aside. And now for the first project that we're going to do, this one right here, I will need this designer series paper, which has that green on the back. I need that piece. And actually, we cut a portion of that one off. So I think we could actually use the leftovers from that. Got leftovers here. And that right there. In fact, I don't even think we'll need this large sheet. We can just use a smaller one. So this was the green that we had left over from yesterday. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not grabbing too much here. I was looking for all of these, and they're sitting right in front of me. Duh. All right. Yeah. Okay. We're going to move these out of the way since we're completed with those. Okay. And let's see, then we have our, just pulling out all the different pieces here. And I need a strip of, I don't need that today. I'll need a piece of white. I actually stamped my flowers already, but we'll be die cutting some of those. I do have a stash of those already cut. Kind of save myself a time. I do not have this cut, but I will be using that, and I will be using my adhesive sheet. And then, you have scraps of white left over, so grab some of those scraps of white. All right. I really, truly want to just put all my other scraps right in the same bag that I had, so that when I go to do my next projects, I can just grab things out of that scrap bag. I kind of mixed the two bags together. That's what was taking me so long. All right, let's start with this. So for this project, the first thing that I'm going to do, oh, I'm sorry, wrong one first. I was doing this one first. All right, this is this page in our tutorial. So you have all the directions there. I actually have my tutorial off to my side here, so I'm going to try to follow it as you would have it. So 1/2 card base. So we need our card base here, which is 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to go ahead and score that in half. I'm going to move these pieces off to my side, and I'll bring them in as I need them. So let's bring up our trimmer here, and I'm going to go ahead and just score this. Make sure this is at 5.5. It's a little bit bigger. So I just need to trim that piece down. Okay. All right. Get my trimmer out of the way. And here we go. All right. So, oopsie, I started folding that wrong. All right. So on our card base here, what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting 1 1/8 from each side. All right. So decide which one you're working for. That's going to end up being the front of your card. So for ease for the camera, I'm just going to cut it on this side. So I'm going to 1 1/8, and I'm going to cut right to my score line. So I'm going to stop at that score line. All right. Then I'm going to just slide this over, and I'm going to do this one at 1 1/8. Again, right to my score line. Just like so. So this is now my card front. It's kind of going like this, right? Yeah. All right. So I have these two pieces. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to adhere these down right away. So let's get our Seal here, or Seal Plus. For most of the projects, I'm using Seal Plus and liquid glue, because those are two really strong adhesives, and because these are, you know, interactive cards, they're going to be moved a lot. So I want to make sure that my projects are all going to stay adhered together. All right, so I'm just going to fold that down, give it a press. Fold this down, give it a press. All right. Now I'm going to bring in some of my designer series paper. So on here, I want a 1 inch by 4 inch striped cloud paper. Okay, so I'm just going to take this one right here, and I am going to, depends on what way, you know, what piece you have left, you know, how you're going to cut it. So, you know, there was another piece here. Let me see. Let me just see where that is. And it doesn't, I guess it doesn't really matter which direction you go here. So we'll just grab whatever. You have enough pieces in there. I'm not going to worry about it. I do want this piece right here, so I'm going to cut this one out first. And this will be 3 by 4 inches. Okay, so I've got one piece. Now, like I said, I do want my stripe pieces. On my sample in the tutorial, when I grabbed up my scraps, I just, I grabbed one that's going a different direction. We're going to be grabbing the stripes up and down. So go ahead and decide which, you know, which little piece that you want to use in the future. I kind of like this one, so I'm going to put this one aside and use that one for something else. I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to cut my 1 inch strips. So one, I just need 2 of them. 2. Right, put that aside. All right, so I'm going to set this right here and here. And the other thing I'm going to need is going to be this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out ahead of time as well. All right. Get that line right in there. This would make a pretty card too. Here. Okay, so this is 4 inches. I'm not really worried too much about the sides here. I'm going to be trimming this down. I'm going to be adhering this to a portion of my crumb cake. So I'm going to set that right here. We're going to get going on this. And let's adhere our strips here. So let's grab our adhesive. All right, now we're going to bump our adhesive right to the, our strip right to that edge that we cut. Go right to that edge. All right, so that I have a same even amount around top and bottom here. All right, so this one. So that's that flap. That's where the edge of the flap was. I'm bumping it right up to the edge. All right. I didn't say this on the directions, but I am going to actually go ahead and I'm going to adhere this one down because I know that's going to go there. That way I don't have to worry about putzing with that piece later. So let's go ahead and put that one on there. And I do want to make sure I have enough adhesive so everything stays flat, so everything stays down. All right. So we'll just center this. All right, so there is our card base. It's going pretty good. Now we're going to take the floral chrome cake piece of paper to. I'm taking this. We'll bring in our crumb cake here. So on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of crumb cake. So I'm really just cutting that full cardstock in quarters, and I'm just going to adhere it down. All right. I can cut some of this down ahead of time. I just wanted you to have a big enough piece so that you can adhere this together. So let's just go ahead. I'll just cut some of this out ahead of time. Actually, I don't want to cut it with a straight edge, so I have a 3/4 piece here that I can use on the inside of my card. And actually what I did from yesterday, I grabbed my I cut my one sheet wrong yesterday, so I'm going to just use that. Okay. I'm going to take this and glue this on. And for this, you just really want to make sure that you have good adhesive throughout the middle, because this is where we're actually going to be cutting it. You can do one of two things. You can put this right onto your cardstock and trim from there, or you can trim this out a little bit and then adhere to your cardstock, and then do your final cutting. I'm going to do that because this way I know I have, I'm going to be trimming this down much closer to the image there. But this way I know I'm going to have adhesive where I need this to be. Or if I want, I can leave this, you know, you can leave it with as much outline as you would like. This is totally your preference here. All right. On this one, you know what, I'll leave a little more than I did on my original sample that's in the tutorial. All right, so now I'm just going to adhere this right to my cardstock. So I'm going to take my liquid glue and I do want to have quite a bit of glue on here. Not like thick layers of it, but I do want to make sure, and I'm putting it as thin as I can, that I have glue around all my edges, because I don't want all that sticking up and popping up. I want to make sure that's going to sit flat. All right, so I'll just get some more in here. I'm using the tip of my glue here. I'm not squeezing right now. I'm just going to move it to the edges there. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on. I'm just going to put it on right here. Yeah, I know I have excess. That's okay. All right. And I know some of the glue came gushing out a little bit. That's okay. We're cutting it away. All right. So now I'm going to take my smaller snips here, and I'm just going to take time cutting that away. So this is where if you're you were a little behind on getting your things or joining late, you can kind of catch up. Because you can always come back and watch a replay, you know, cut this out after. And sometimes with the larger pieces, I just trim them off so it makes it easier to turn my project. I know this is the quiet part. But I thought it might be fun for you to see kind of how I really did all of this. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's that different pattern on the other side of here. And I also wanted to give this a little bit of stability. So this way it's going to have, you know, the crumb, oh my gosh, I need a sip of water. Crumb cake background instead of having that striped background. Because it would look kind of, I don't know, strange, I feel, because it would stick off the edges. So when you flip this up, you're going to have some of that sticking off the edges. Oh, it looks like I had used, I had used cloud cover. But we're using crumb cake because that's what I wrote in the directions. All right, so now I got all that done. I can take all this excess here. I am just going to put it in my waste can. I don't want to have to deal with it. All right. Okay. Now, I just want to, it curled up a little bit with that glue, so I'm just going to try to straighten it out just a little bit here. All right. I'm going to bring in my card base. I am going to bring in my ribbon because we want to tie a bow. So I need my bow cutting scissors. All right. Okay, and I'm going to quick grab a sip of water here. I think I have some water. Hopefully you didn't hear me chugging it down. Okay, let's tie a bow in our front here. So as you know, a lot of times I tie my bows upside down. It's going to end up being kind of in the center, but you can always slide it to where you need it to go. Oh, and I've got really way too long of a tail here. So it's kind of funny. Some days I leave myself short for my tail. And then other days, I make it way too long. I think it's really way too long again, but I'd rather have long versus way too short. All right. Now, you can still order your craft along kit this week. If you decide, oh, darn, I wish I would have ordered that so I could do these projects too, just go ahead and in the description, there is a link to get it. I'm not going to send it out until after the weekend. I have to order some product for you, so they'll ship probably about May 10th. And you'll have the option to add on the lovely assortment bundle if you want to add that on too. All right. So here we go. We're going to take our flowers now, and we're going to look to see which way do I want my flowers going. Just, you know, turn it this way and that. You know, figure out how you want it to appear. While I'm letting that deliberate in my brain, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my flowers here. Actually, I don't need flowers. I just need... I'm going to grab one of my extra strips, pieces of white that I had from the other day. And never mind, I've got some leaves there. I'm going to grab this strip right here. And I am going to die cut a little label. So let's get out our dies here. I didn't even have my stamps or anything ready. Holy cow. That's not smart. How can we stamp if I don't have stamps ready? All right, so let's grab our die. I'm going to grab our little label die here. And we'll go ahead and bring in our die cut machine. What did I do with my plates? I wanted to use my small die cut machine because it's just so much easier to have on the desk. I don't know what I did with my plates. Just gotta find my cutting plates. I have no idea where I put them from yesterday. And my chamois wasn't closed, so that got dried out. That's not going to help. I mean, I just have to run really quick and go get a little bit of water in there. Actually, I'll just do this. Oop, that's way too much. I had a little water bottle here. Not gonna lie, so I kind of cheated. All right. Let that soak in for a moment. Oh, my CD case, my DVD case just doesn't want to close there. So my chamois sits inside one of the old stamp cases. You know how they've replaced them now. You can still order those online. I like to keep my chamois there because it usually, if it's closed, it'll keep that nice and, I'm going to say the word I don't like to ever use, moist. Moist should only be used when talking about cake, just saying. But in this case, it worked. It'll keep it damp so that you can clean your stamps. You don't have to go and get it washed, you know, rinsed and soaked every time. And if you find that it's drying out all the time, it's almost probably time then to be replaced. It'll get a little firmer as you go. Okay, so I've got this. I'm going to put my die away. And let's see here. I need my hello friend. So grab that stamp out. All right, so I'm going to do a couple things here. I tend to misplace things very easily just because it gets covered by something as I'm working. So I usually put this back in a case. I also keep my thin cello sheet here with my stamps. So when I put them away, I just put that back on top. And I'm going to slide it in here because those little guys, I tell you what, those things run away more than my dies do. Oh, it drives me crazy. They come loose and they just split. They go and hide. And, you know, I don't want to play hide and seek with them. All right, so I'm going to grab hello friend. You grab whatever sentiment you want. And we're going to grab, again, we're using our two colors, Old Olive and Secret Sea. That just happens to be what coordinates with our designer paper. All right, so I'm going to stamp hello friend. All right, put that off to the side. Let's get that cleaned. I don't remember what I used on my next on my next card, but we'll just get it cleaned ahead of time here. All right. And got all the pieces I need. Actually, I'm ready to put everything together and just put my embellishments on. So now the reason I didn't put my flowers on just quite yet is I have my sentiment here and I want to figure out where I'm going to put my sentiment. You know, how much of my flowers do I want covering? I didn't want to cover up my flowers a whole lot. So by having my label ready, I can turn this the way I want. And now I know where it's going to land. As long as your leaves and everything don't go past the top and the bottom there, you're okay. So let's go ahead. See, I told you, they run away. I got to find out what stamp set that was supposed to go to, because it's a stamp set missing its thing. All right. I know. But that one might be on edge there. So as I'm putting my dimensionals on, I'm really being aware of how much is hanging off the edges there. And you know what? For grins and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and just put this on right away. I know I had that up there a little bit more. Okay, maybe I went this way with it. Nope, it was this way. I don't remember. Just pick away, Beth. All right, I'm just going to go like that. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down right away. That way I have it on there. That way it reminds me of where it's going to be. Now I know that that little one end is going to be kind of hanging off a little bit. So I'm only putting adhesive on my left side there. All right. Okay. Now that tells me that I can put it dimensionals there and there. I really can't here, but I could put one there. Again, just trying to be really aware of what's hanging off the edges. How much of that? Oh, okay, that one's pretty much on there. And I am going to put quite a few dimensionals on here. I want this to be supported. I want it to feel loved and not wrecked. So I'm putting a lot on. Just because I want to challenge myself with peeling off backings today. Yesterday was a little tough. I don't know why, but it was. Okay, today is not going any better. I think it's just this sheet of dimensionals. It is really sticky. It doesn't want to play. Like, I've never had my backings be so sticky. I feel like this is a different sheet. I feel like maybe I grabbed this sheet from a paper pumpkin. Yeah. Okay, painful time to watch me peel off all of those things. All right, so now let's just go ahead and put this on. I know what kind of angle it's going to be at because my label's there. All right, so now we've got that going. We do have to put a little piece on the inside here, so let's grab one of our white pieces here, and we're going to be cutting that to be the piece that I used here. Oh. Sometimes I have all this organized and then I'm like, oh, I'll just use this to cut. I need a piece that's 3 by 4. And we'll just cut this though. So I'll cut this at my 4-inch right here. I'll cut it at 3 inches. Put this aside for some other project. Oh, and now I need a strip of designer series paper. You know what? I can use the same strip I did before. It just has to be 3 inches. So I'm just going to, actually, I'm going to cut that down. I'm going to use another strip that I had right here. You can leave it as wide as you want. I'm just going to cut it down to 1/2 inch. I feel like that's what I really need to have on there. It's at 3/4 of an inch. So I have one side that's a little rough. So that's the side I'm going to cut off. So 1/2 inch right there. There we go. We'll get our seal here. And oh, that's a lot longer than I need. I need to put some adhesive right here because, all right, and I'm going right to the bottom. Just like that. Flip this over. I'll snip this piece off. Throw that out before it sticks to one of our other projects. Bring back in our sample here, and I'm going to go ahead and just put this right centered right on there. If you wanted to have a little pop of color, go ahead and cut a little piece from one of your other patterns. Again, you have enough in your kit there to make all these cards plus. All right, so now let's get on our embellishments and we'll be finished with this card. This one is so much faster. All right. And grab our take a pick tool. And we'll put this one here. This one here. I really want them to be kind of bright and standing out, so I'm going to use my, and I think we'll put a small one, or, you know, we're going to use a large one right here, and then I need one more right here, so I'll grab this blue. All right. So there are our embellishments. Now, you have a whole sheet of these. I just want to make sure I have enough for each of the projects that I have left. So you can put on as many as you like. So that is card number 3. All right, card 4. Just put some of these things out of the way. Oh, here's my sheet. Need to have all my ducks in a row before I start putting my things together, right? Okay. So I'm getting my ducks in a row. Hold on. It's time to almost wash my plate here because I've got all my pieces stuck to it. Okay. Next card, our bridge card. All right. Now I'm going to pull in all my pieces. All right. And let's start with, I need 2 of my, what do I want to start with? I'm going to start with my base. So I have my 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock here. And what I'm going to do is, there's another piece I want. Okay. I was just trying to make sure what that was. All right. Is this 8 inches? Let me see. Let me see what this one is. Oh, here it is. I already cut this one down. Sorry. So this one right here is going to be 8 by 4 1/4. So mine's just at 8 1/2. So I'm just going to trim this down to be 8 inches. So I have that little 1/2 inch strip. You can use it for a label, whatever you want later. Okay. All right, so I have that one. I need another piece that is 1 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then 1 by 3. So I'm going to take my other piece here. I'm going to cut this at 5 1/2. So now I got a 1/4 sheet right there for another project. This one right here is going to be 1 1/4. So we'll cut that at 1 1/4. There we go. And I need a 1 by 3. What is my width right here? Oh, and that turned out perfect. So I'm just going to turn that sideways. again, piece for some other time. 1 by 3. And I realized, you know, yesterday, oh no, I didn't die cut out of my designer paper. I was thinking I didn't die cut the flowers out of my designer paper. I'm like, wait a minute, did I do that? Okay. Anyways, our 8 by 4 1/4 here, we are going to score it at 1 1/4. Make sure you have your cutting blade out of your way. So let's get it in there, make it nice and straight. So 1 1/4. And then I'm going to go to 2 1/2. 5 1/2. And now I want 6 3/4. All right. The other piece I needed was, I mentioned I needed a piece of cloud cover. So I'm going to have to pull this sheet out here. And I need a piece that is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. So what did I say? 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. So I'm going to do it. I just realized that my trimmer, you guys can't see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go to 2 3/4. And now I'm going to go to 3 1/2. These pieces I'm done with. I'm done with the piece of, I'm going to put this right back in my kit, in that bag. So when I need the next project, I have it available. All right. And I need a chunk of my, what do you call it? Whatever this is. Okay, tomorrow we're doing crumb cake. Oh, no, we did, yeah. Okay, I'll have enough. I'm just going to take, let's see. I'm going to be die cutting our little leaves again here. So I just want to see how wide I need it. You know, a little 1-inch strip will be great. And you know what? Because I know that my sheet of adhesive here is 2 inches, I'm just going to cut this at 2 inches. Make life easier. And I'm just going to put this piece away. All right. These were extra pieces. Oh, no. One of them. No, I need those two. Sorry. I lied. All right. Yeah. I'm going to put my card right in front of me here so that I remember all the different pieces I have. Okay, so I've got my base. I've got my bands. I've got that. I got this, and I'm missing my pieces of designer paper. So I've got my designer paper right here. And I've got this one right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and cut our designer paper. Let's just have it all set for us so that we can assemble. So in your tutorial, if you noticed, I have all the measurements here, so you can cut your pieces up right away, and then you can start assembling. Sometimes I find that the easiest way, that's just the way my brain works with tutorials. I don't want to have to read through the tutorial for the measurement, even though I do put the measurements in the instructions. I like to also know what pieces I need cut ahead of time. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't, maybe like reading the back page of the, you know, book. And not that I always do that. I just, on some occasions I do. All right, so this piece right here, I need to be measured at 2 3/4 by 4. Now I had the piece from yesterday that I believe was 4 inches. Oh, that's the wrong pattern. Never mind. We're going to use this one. And this is 4 inches. So I need to cut this piece at 2 3/4. So let's just slide this in to 2 3/4 right here. Bonus is I saved the piece that I really wanted to save. All right, so 2 3/4. Ta-da! All right, that 2 3/4 I had from before, I'll be using as well. All right, and now I need to cut this here down to 4 1 by 4 inch strips. So this is 4 inches if I make sure. Okay, 4 inches, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Typically, when I have a full sheet of a 12 by 12 paper, the first cut I usually make is a 4 inch strip, and then I work from there. So if that helps you any, because your layer is usually, 4 by something. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now I got all my ducks in a row. Before I go any further, I'm going to definitely... Oh, did I put that die back in here? I hope so. Yes. Shoo. Okay. Worried about that. I'm going to put some of my paper away, just so it's not all over my desk front. Okay, so I've got all these extra pieces. I can put all this away. I'm not going to need it. Kind of nice having that little bag. All right. Got those projects there. Again, I've got all these extra pieces, so I'm just going to put them away. My desktop will then be much cleaner so that I can do projects tomorrow. All right, so here's all my little pieces. And over the weekend, I'll post some different pictures. I'll try to do some on my blog and post them out there of different cards that I've made with my scraps. Okay, so now for my base here. I'm just going to go ahead and fold this one in here, and now I'm going to fold this one back. All right, this one I'm going to do the same way. I'm going to fold here and fold back. We're going to take our bone folder and give each of those score lines a nice press. I want my scores there to be nice and crisp. All right. All right. Now, I know it doesn't look like much. You're like, that's really small. It's not going to fit. I mean, it's going to be way too big, way too small for your envelope. It's okay. It is really going to work. Really. When I first did it, I was like, oh, this doesn't seem right. I'm not doing it right. It is. It looks small. It's not going to be. So just bear with me here. All right. So we got those done. And we're going to go ahead and kind of maybe flatten that out a little bit. We're going to adhere our 4 strips of paper. So let's get that going. Just going to put my adhesive on all 4. Now, if you really wanted, you could, have made sure that you know which direction you cut them. I don't pay attention. To tell you the truth, I really don't. But, you can have them in the order that you cut them. They're not going to really be next to each other that much. So in my mind, I didn't feel like I had to do that. All right. But I could just look and say, okay, do those match up? No. Does that match up? Not really. All right, let's try this one. And winner, winner, chicken dinner. So if I want them to match up more, I'm just going to lay these down now. All right, one. Again, they're not going to be touching, so it's not a big deal if you don't put them in order. Oh, sure, now it's stuck to me. And this one, I believe, was this way. There we go. All right, again, they're not touching each other, so it's not a big deal that they're not all lined up perfectly, okay? Because you're really not going to see them flat like this. It's not, we have that piece. Again, I'm just going back to my directions so that I am doing them in the order that they're in, so that when you're putting this together, you know. So we're going to put our striped piece here. I know it's kind of a shame to kind of cover up some of these, the card sheet one, but you have 3 sheets of it. It's okay. If you love it and want to do more things with it, you can. You'll have extra. All right, so we've got that piece, and now we're going to do our you know, I don't have my Secret C Designer Series paper. That's what I'm missing here. So let me get a strip of that. All right. I'm just finding the Secret C paper here. I know I had a little chunk of it, so. Now I'm going to give you a hint. Tomorrow's projects are using this paper. So that's why I have a chunk of it, because I actually did the video for tomorrow night. My husband and I actually have a date night tomorrow night. We're going to actually pick out flowers for our porch together. So because we're doing that, he had strongly suggested I figure out a way to get my video done before. So I got my live done before. It'll be posted at 5 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook, both at the same time, right at 5 o'clock. All right, so here is not going to be big enough. I need a strip that is 5.5 or 4 1/4. I mean, so this is going to be 5 1/4 by 1 inch. So I'm just going to take my large piece here. I'm just going to this. I'm going to cut 1 inch. And I'm going to cut it 5 1/4. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow. All right. This piece here needs to be at 5.5, so I'm just double checking it is. And now this I'm going to adhere right to that strip. This is what's going to form our bridge, all right? So it's going to connect our 2 sides together. I know you're like, hey, how is it going to do that? I'm going to show you. All right. So we have this here. We're going to actually, when we do this, we're going to fold in our right side and leave our left side completely flat. Then I'm going to adhere my left and my right. I'm only going to do these 2 panel areas, right? So I just need those 2 ends like that. In fact, I'm going to put this one over here. So I'm going to measure it right about here. I didn't really measure. It's maybe like 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to the edge of my 2 papers here. So I'm going right to the edge here and right to the edge here. And now that formed our bridge, all right? So it can go either way. It can swing either way. It's all good, right? But that's what forms our base. Here we go. I was out of frame. That's what forms our base. Okay. I'm just going to put mine over to the one side here, just because I need to add a few more things. Now we're going to take our, let's get some of our die cutting done here. I'm going to take my Secret C strip and I'm going to put this adhesive backing on there. So I'm going to pull that off. I'll layer that right on the back. So this little strip is 2 inches wide. So here we go. And I am just going to go ahead and just cut it down. Makes it easier to run through the die cut machine. Okay. I've got that. I've got this. I need this one. So that's what we're going to be die cutting with that. We're going to die cut out 2 of our flowers. So a large flower and a small flower. And by prep magic, I was going to say I have it done, but I don't. I only have small flowers done. Okay. So we'll have to cut a large flower here. All right. Die cut machine. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to do my large flower since I already have a small one done. Oh, I need the die. It's going to be kind of hard to die cut something without a die. There we go. So get that done. Right. So I've got 2 flowers. I need a label, so we're going to grab our 3-inch strip here and cut our label. Then we'll go on to all of our leaves. I think I got these in at the same time, hopefully. And I need, how many leaves there? I need a total of 5 leaves. Now again, because I'm using that adhesive sheet, I just need to take that back and forth a couple times just to make sure it got cut all the way through. So here's my label. Here are my 2 flowers. Let's get that popped out. All right, I'm going to cut some more leaves. And hey, since you already have this sheet of backed with your adhesive, cut out as many flowers as you want. You know, cut out as many leaves as you want ahead of time. And just store them in a clear envelope inside your dies, inside your die case. And I'll show you what that is like right at the end of the video, because I have an envelope right here. So, okay. You know, I made a pasta salad at lunch today. And I am not feeling very good. I am wondering if maybe the mayonnaise was bad. Starting to feel a little ill. Okay. So let's go ahead and stamp. Again, this time on my original sample in the tutorial, I stamped Hello Friend. I think I'm going to stamp Thank You on this one, just to change it up a little bit. We're going to use our Secret C. There's one more thing I have to die cut. So I'm just going to stamp that. But while I was thinking about it, I really wanted to get my stamping pieces done. I'm going to bring in my blend that isn't working well. And I'm just going to color. I want to add a little bit more color to this. So I'm kind of going around in a larger circle here. I just wanted to add a little bit more color. Same with over here. And I'm just dotting where that Secret Sea ink is, just to make sure it doesn't like blend and bleed. All right, so now I got those. The last piece that I need to die cut is that little cloud cover piece that I cut out. So I'm going to be using this fun little die right here. Now it's not going to cut anything. Well, it is going to cut. It's not going to cut that square piece. It's going to cut out these little like flower kind of design, geometric design here. I use this quite a bit, so I'm just poking out the excess stuff that I had in there from before. Otherwise, it won't necessarily die cut all those holes. So you do have to clean your dies every once in a while. And I could have just used my brush tool, but I didn't grab it. I don't know why. It's sitting right there. I figured this was just as fast. There's not that much to do in it. Okay. All right. So now I got all my little pieces here. I can take my lint roller, which is usually what I do, and I pick it up with my little lint roller. So let's get that handy dandy little guy out here. It's been pretty used here, so I may have to... Oh, it did it. I got most of it. It does not like to roll on my glass mat, so... Okay, let's run this through our die cut machine. Ugh. I just centered that best I could on that rectangle because the piece of cardstock is a little bit bigger than my die. And I'm going to run it back again. I just like to make sure with my beat up plates here, I get a nice clean cut. If you notice that your cuts from your dies are not cutting really clean, or you have to do that so many times, it's because your plates need to be replaced. Yes, it does happen. You do eventually need to replace them. All right, so here we go. We're going to be putting this right on here. Now, because I had that little edge there, I'm going to put that on the bottom, so no one will really notice that. All right, and I'm going to take my flowers, and we're going to decorate our flowers and our card front first, and then I'll put it on. So let's get all our little pieces here and decide where we want to have our leaves. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be adhering my leaves. I've got that adhesive backing on it. Now here's a tip. If your leaves are going to hang over your edge, make sure you either, number one, don't have the adhesive sheets there, or may have your adhesive sheet only run part way up. So in this case, I'm just going to make sure that doesn't hang off the edge because I have adhesive all the way on the back. Probably with that one, I just ran a couple through that didn't have adhesive, and so I was able to do that. All right. So just kind of decide what way I want my flowers to go. And because I don't really want all that hanging off, I'm putting it there. So changing it up a little bit from my original and my tutorial. I never make two cards the same. That's why every card is an original. Even if I'm using the same layout, the same papers, the same design, it never comes out the same. And if it did, it would be manufactured. It wouldn't be handmade. So having everything be unique and a little different is totally fine. That's what makes it so special. Don't feel you have to do everything like I exactly have in the tutorial. Go ahead and play. This is your time to play with your supplies. So, and I think I am going to use this extra one. Although I usually say, you know, odd numbers. I just kind of feel like I need a little something right here. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put on, we're going to put this onto my card front now. So I'm going to take this and I am just going to run adhesive right along this side here. Now I could use liquid glue because there's those holes, but I'm going to chance it and not. All right. So now when I put this flat here, I just want to have it over just a little bit. Kind of centered that there. All right. Now I can bring in my dimensionals here. Put some dimensionals on our flowers. Now notice I only put 2 on this one. I didn't put any over that. That's because it's going to be overlapping that top flower, this bigger flower. So I don't really need to have a dimensional there. In fact, if I did, it would kind of prevent me from overlapping those. So I'm just going to put this one right here. Oh, that's not the way I had it because I had that one kind of being covered. Okay. Right. The other thing before you put your last flower on is to consider where you're going to have your label. So your label is going to be overlapping this just a little bit. So I like to put it in place just to hold it there until I get this on. All right, now I know exactly where I can put my label. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my adhesive and I'm going to run it along the whole label. And I'm going to overlap this and this. Like that. Okay, so now, ooh, look how cute that is. So now you're like, well, where do I write my name? Where do I write my message? What do I do? Well, you take your 2 3/4 by 4 inch strip here. You put it right on the back, and that's where you are going to leave your little message. So I'm just going to put this right in the back. And, you know, for grins and giggles, let's go ahead and stamp something on here. Since I have that, do I have that flower out somewhere? Let's just grab this flower. Kind of coordinate everything together. I'm just going to stamp it right in the lower part here. And let's see, I put thank you on the front, and so we could do, oh, sending smiles will not fit on there. So we'll just do, just thank you, just like that. We'll go ahead and color this in a little bit. Kind of match the front. And we'll put this on. Oh, I had something on my sheet. Okay, well, I'll be replacing that piece. All right, now all we need is embellishments. So here is our final card. And let's just put on some of our embellishments here. And I'm going to grab some of the white ones this time. And so again, I can just set this flat while I work on this. I'm going to bring my embellishments over here. I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to pick them up right-handed. All right, let's grab some of these white ones. And we're going to put them. Now, I had colored in some of mine with a different color before, so I just need to watch which ones I'm grabbing because I don't want to put the yellow ones on there. All right, and we'll put a couple. No, I only have a couple left here. You know, let's just use them. Let's just put one up here. You know, I'm going to put one right in the middle of that flower there. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. I feel like I need a couple more. 2, 3, 4. And got the 1 there, the 2 there. I'm going to put one over here. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Always when you think you need one more of something, just stop. You don't. That's your brain telling you, stop, stop, don't add it anymore. Sometimes you do need it, but a lot of times just listen to your brain there. It's like, no, 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 I don't know where to put it. Well, then just stop. Because you can always walk away and come back later if you feel like you need to have something there. Okay, so I was telling you before about what I do with all the extra little pieces. So when I'm die cutting things, I might as well go ahead and die cut a bunch of things at one time. So when I go back, I can actually just go ahead and grab out my little envelope. So I have this clear envelope. I think they're like 50 in a pack. They're great. This is how demonstrators tend to like package our swaps up, or when I'm selling cards, I package my cards in this. So now what I'm going to do, I'm looking to see if I have any other pieces. I do. I have a couple. All right. I'm going to take this piece here because it already has adhesive on it, and I can use that again. So I'm going to grab the other piece that I have adhesive on right here. We'll just trim off some of this excess, because it's great when I have that adhesive on. I don't have to go find those scraps. I have them handy dandy right here. So I'm just going to put them right in here. Put all of my extra pieces right in there. And what's great too is take your labels, make a bunch of extra labels, because you know what? You always need a label for something, right? And if you have a bunch of extra labels made, you are going to save yourself so much time. All right. So now what I do is when I put my dies away, hot mess that it is right now, I'm going to go ahead and slide this right in there. I can either put it right here, or if I'm worried about the dies kind of scratching it out, I'll put it, excuse me, right in the back. All right. So I tend to keep my things together. So I have my dies right here, and then I have my stamps. So I'm just showing you some extra little storage tips here. I know sometimes it helps. People are getting used to these larger cases here. You know, I actually am not, that's hard. I actually kind of like them. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm really trying to say is, and the reason I kind of like them is because I don't have to have two separate places for my dies and my stamps now. I can have them all together. See now, that little sheet was grounded to its home, so it was right where it was supposed to be. All right, so put that right in here. And then I can slide that opposite direction. I have a nice little clear bin that I use. And so far, they all fit in there, because look how much less space this takes. But now, I know, here's the stamps I want to use. I know my dies are right here. And I can just feel like, ooh, I've got some extra goodness in there. So there we go. That is how I store those. So I hope that's a helpful tip for you. Again, so here are the cards that we made tonight. And you'll see, you know, in my tutorial, they're a little different. Again, each time I make a card, I make it just a tad different. It's not that I'm going rogue. It's just my brain all of a sudden just goes in a different direction. All right. So thanks for joining me for day 2 of our Fun Flip and Fab class, our craft along. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Again, it will be available at 5 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, both at the same time. They'll be premiering at the same time. And you can still get your craft along kit through Saturday. And there's links to go get that, to order it so I can send it to you. Don't wait for the last minute, though, because I do have to place an order to get some of your supplies. All right, take care and have a great rest of the week. We'll see you later.